Hey friends, Shay here. So I am here with another video for you today. Today's video is going to be focused on some manga series that I've completed. I've finished 6 in the last few weeks. So I wanted to just kind of compile all of my thoughts into this one video for you guys so you can kind of get my thoughts on a bunch of series now that they're all finished and complete. So I've got my stack next to me. I did mention a few of these in my most recent wrap-up, so this might feel like duplicate content for you, but here we go. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Love Me, Love Me Not, Volume 12. This is the final volume in this amazing high school shoujo series. When it comes to this series as a whole, it is definitely my favorite Sakisaka work. I liked this more than Strawbedge. I like this more than Aoharu Ride. I feel like the choice to split kind of the dramatic moments between two couples worked really well in this particular series for Sakisaka and the way she loves to tell stories, because then you weren't so frustrated with your couple by the end that you just didn't care whether they were together or not, because that's kind of how I felt by the end of Aoharu Ride, sadly. So this one is by far my favorite. I love how closed yet open-ended this particular volume was, because it felt very hopeful. It felt like characters were making decisions for themselves, not based on other people. I do like how the parents actually played a prominent role in the decisions these teens were making, because that was a kind of a theme throughout, is that specifically Ryo and Akari's parents played a big part in how they made choices to further themselves in life and how they looked at the world and things. And it was just so intriguing. I think it was so well done. So if you're going to pick up any Sakisaka, I think Love Me, Love Me Not should be the one for you, because this is by far and away my favorite of the 3 that we have in English currently. Next is one that I didn't love quite so much, and that is Fiancé of the Wizard. This is the 4th and final volume. So in this series, I feel like the pacing was slightly off. There might be a few reasons for that. I'm not sure if the series got canceled and they had to rush all their plans right in the final volume, or if it was just a choice in the pacing. I'm not 100% sure. I have not done my research yet. Probably showed up before I started filming this video. So with that said, I feel like this last volume was just breakneck speed action. This didn't really feel like a fully fleshed out story. I feel like the pacing of the first 2.5 volumes was great. And then I feel like the last volume and a half were just breakneck speed, give me all of the action kind of a situation. So though the series as a whole is 4 stars for me, because I do like how it concluded, I feel like it needed a little bit of breathing room. It needed another volume or 2 to flush everything out so that you fully understood the motivations of certain characters, because it just felt very cliche, almost mustache twirly kind of thing. So that's my thoughts on Fiancé of the Wizard. I do think it's a fun series, so if it's intriguing to you, I would pick it up because it is a short series. I would still recommend this to people, but I would just caveat that the last volume is going to be very action-packed, and you might feel like it needed a little more space to breathe, but otherwise it's still a pretty solid series all the way through. These next 4, I am super sad to say goodbye to these series, so let's get started. The first one on the list is Manly Appetites, Minagishi Loves Otsu. So I have really loved my time and enjoyed this series as a whole. I wish we had another volume or 2. It could definitely have a spin-off sequel if the mangaka ever decided to do it, because with where we're left, it felt, as much as I loved it and it's perfect in a way, it still felt slightly unsatisfying in another way. The romance lover in me needed a tiny bit more from this ending, but the manga lover in me can see that this is complete where it's at. In this one, Otsu, through Minagishi's love, has learned to love himself. And because he loves himself now, he can truly say that he loves Minagishi, and so we see him, especially in this final volume, declare that in a way. And it was so precious and so sweet. I love these two so very much. And like I said before, there is a character introduced in this 3rd volume that I think adds that final element that felt almost missing to me from the rest of the series. And it was so, so good. Would 10 out of 10 recommend this series. It's one of my favorite BLs of all time. This will never leave my shelf because there will be times where I just pick up a volume and flip through because I need something sweet and fun and funny. And that's exactly what this is. So again, would 10 out of 10 recommend this series if you have not picked it up yet and you like BL stories, like, or if you're a chubby person, Minagishi is the perfect partner for any chubby person. And we love Minagishi in this house. Well, we love Otsu too. Oh, now I have to say goodbye to my precious children. Sweat and Soap, y'all. You've heard me gush about this series for 2 years now. Yeah, 2 years. And it's over. It's complete. This ending gave me everything I needed. It was full. It was complete. And it was perfect for Asako and Natori. They truly closed their chapter beautifully. I cannot wait for more for this manga. So I'm very, very, very excited because I loved this with so much of my being. You all know that this is one of my favorite mangas of all time. This is the healthiest relationship I have ever seen in manga. And I will forever recommend this series. Yes, the first volume's kind of funky with the smelling thing, but really that is so minimal for their relationship that their relationship truly shines beautifully in the series. The sniffing thing is kind of like the initial weird kind of thing to hook you, but I love these two so much. Just like, I want them to be real people because I love them so much. And I want to just walk up to them and give them a hug and say thank you because this series has fed my soul for the last 2 years. And I love it so much, and I just will never get enough of it. So yes, I could have taken many more volumes of this series, but at the same time, their story feels concise and complete and completely satisfying for me. So, would recommend. The next one that I'm going to talk about is one that I've been putting off reading for a while, just like Sweat and Soap, and that is Takani and Hana, Volume 18. This is the limited edition cover. The normal cover has Hana in the bridal carry, but I feel like this cover is more indicative of the series as a whole. Hana, over the course of the series, really has swept Takane off his feet and startled him in every way humanly possible. The comedy is still there all the way through. It doesn't take itself too seriously. This was super fun. I really enjoyed this series as a whole. Yes, it's an age gap. Do I think it glorifies age gaps? Maybe a little bit. But at the same time, it leans so hard into the comedy and it's so over the top that it's really hard to take this series seriously. Because I think it's just meant to be a good fun time. And I really enjoyed it. And Takane really has the maturity of like a 15-year-old throughout the majority of the series. So I think that's also why this one worked, is because his maturity level was so low and she was the one acting like an adult most of the time. And you see them both grow and learn and mature together. And it's proof that their relationship will work very well. I mean, I had grandparents that were that far apart. So to me, the age gap isn't that big of a deal other than the legal barriers. But, you know, that's all addressed and taken care of throughout the series. So yes, I loved this. If you like the first couple volumes, I say stick with it. It's been a lot of fun for me. And yes, I really enjoyed this one. And then last, but definitely not least, is Boys Run the Riot. This final volume of Boys Run the Riot had these people looking towards their future and realizing, oh, we haven't thought this through all the way. They have several people that they interact with that force them to truly think about where their brand is going to go and have it be more than just a fun club kind of project that they work on together. And it's fantastic. I feel like each of these characters has addressed the parents and parental units in their life to basically become themselves to those people. And obviously, Rio's was the most powerful, though Jin's was a very close second for me. I teared up multiple times reading this final volume. I think it was very well done. It is a closed circle story, but I do feel like it is open-ended enough that you could kind of draw your own conclusions from there. For me, it was very hopeful and very powerful, and I think it was super well done. I really enjoy this series all the way through. It's very powerful in learning to live your life as yourself, whether there's a queer aspect to your life or not. I think this is a very powerful series because I think it helps you really figure out what you want out of life and how to tell people in your life that that's what you want. That's something that especially teens need to learn in life. And it took me until my late 20s when I left a really toxic relationship to learn that for myself. And so to see these teenagers learn that and face their parents and tell them, okay, this is who I am, this is what I want. That's something I wish I could have done at their age because I didn't know myself well enough to tell. But these teens have really gone on long journeys and been through a lot. And you see them do that. And it's beautiful. And it's so well done. I have no complaints about the series whatsoever. To me, it is perfect and so well done. So yes, the last little bit of this series, of this final volume, is another short story that I believe inspired Boys Run the Riot. Probably like the first draft by the mangaka is kind of what I gathered. And the art's a little bit different, a little bit rougher, and so you can really kind of see how the mangaka has evolved, and it was absolutely well done. So friends, with that said, those are my thoughts on 6 manga series that I've completed recently. Let me know in the comments down below if you've also completed any of these and your thoughts on them. If you're here just because you love me, leave some sort of cleanliness related emoji for Sweat and Soap, and I will leave this with you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Again, if you're new, I would love it if you would subscribe, click the bell, do all the YouTube things, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Was it all just a dream, just all in my head?